세러데이 쇼다운, KT 롤스터 대 DN 슈퍼스.
These two teams coming a long way along these loss streaks. One of them will break that streak. One of them will get their first win in a long time. For Nongshim, it's been 10 series. For DNS, it's been 15. And it comes down to this final game. Once again, Nongshim will get first pick. DNS will get blue side. That has been consistent throughout the series. And we'll see if the bans end up being consistent. So DNS have banned Orianna, Jarv, and Lucian every single game. But Nongshim have tweaked theirs bit by bit. The Rumble was what they let through last time.
Oh.
They banned the Trundle.
Karma up.
We've seen normally, originally, Trundle was like a counter to Zinzala. That was the only time it was really picked. But we've seen it rise in priority a decent amount. So interesting they go and prioritize that. Karma's available, but it's going to ban Lucian again. So presumably, it's going to be a first pick Karma.
Why is Sponge nodding?
Nope, they're going for the Nocturne. So they're just letting Karma go. I think the game plan here is ban as many junglers as possible and then pick Nocturne, and we don't really care about anything else. But even before Neferi was meta, Pioshik had those phenomenal Neferi games, and it's still open and available, so I don't even think he's bothered by this at all.
And just pick Karma with Neferi, and maybe you get Jhin, or maybe you get something else. Maybe you can play Sivir. I mean, you know, our space went on and on about how the bot lane duo is so important in this meta, and it is. They do have to respond with their jungler now, I suppose. You could have saved it for pick 3, but then it's a little bit obvious, I suppose.
So we're presuming it's going to be the Neferi comment that comes in.
Yeah, but now they don't get their Jhin, assuming that's what they wanted to
There's
play.
Jhin, there's Sivir. I think it's okay. As long as you don't let it go through to the second rotation of bans, I think you're fine. But as you said, it makes it a little telegraphed. Kind of know what they're going to lock in. And the question is, are Nongshim going to lock in a bot lane here? As the space was saying, securing bot lane early on is important. And it looks like they're going to go MF Nautilus, which was just talked about on the space.
Our
been very solid, very
really knowledgeable.
Yeah. Sivir going to come through as a response. I think that makes sense. Spell shield, good value into the Nautilus. You scale well. You can kind of just wave clear after a point effectively into this combo. This is very much Nongshim wanting to secure kills, though, and Peter is going to be the one in danger, first and foremost. So he's got to watch out there. Lehens has been a very proficient Nautilus. But now it's all about the solo lanes, and DNS, having second pick, have a bit of an advantage here. I'm kind of wondering what they're going to lean towards here. Closer had a rough game last time around, so I want to see him have a better performance.
How about an Akali? Oh, wait.
That's gone.
That was like obvious pick number 1 for closer. What's obvious pick number 2? Ahri?
Maybe Aurora. I know Closer's a bit of a fan of the Aurora.
Aurora and Neferi
Pretty strong.
can do some damage.
Also hard to pin down for both the Nautilus and the Nocturne.
Yeah.
Cassante, by the way, is also still available. So DN Supers could even go... I mean, I feel like going Aurora here and then Cassante after is good, but they could even early prior the Cassante just because it is Dusante. And, you know, there's no Trundle in the game.
Yeah.
There's no Cassante in the game now.
Yeah.
I think
there's a lot of top lane stuff available.
DNS were a little suspicious.
You can play Nari, you can play Renekton. They're just going to save counter pick for top lane, which is fine. The Aurora we expected does come through. And now you're going to have to blind pick for Kingen and response pick into Aurora, which is not easy. The Renekton blinds in top lane.
And what about Scout? There's still Talia is available, and he is just going to lock that in. I feel like a lot of the mid lane is knocked out in terms of the priority order. The LCK, Talia is just going to come through. Is it just going to be Gnar for Dudu? Yes, it is. Well, no big surprises in the draft so far, but it is going to come down to execution. I feel like mid lane is going to be really important because top lane, we tend to see the Renekton have pressure early, even though Gnar scales well into the matchup. Bot lane is going to be pretty volatile and expect a lot of jungle attention there to try and punish this Karma, so Peter's going to be under a lot of pressure. But mid lane, Scout kind of has had Closer's number. And we need a good game from Closer in this one. If he falls behind the lane, then it's not just going to be the Nocturne going bot. It's going to be the Talia as well. And I don't think Doctor and Peter can survive against that. So
yeah,
I do think that the composition of Nongshim does trend much earlier, and you're dealing with some dangerous scaling elements.
Yeah.
But we saw in Game 2, they were just able to win out in the early game.
Absolutely. It looks like that fan's school was having an event with a bunch of artists coming down, but she came to the LCK instead.
Wow, that's commitment.
Definitely a good idea. Also, that fan's ramen is salty, not because of the the packet in the ramen. It's because of her tears.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the experience for
no pressure,
fans,
though.
I suppose.
No pressure. But I'm
let's see how
crying
it
into my
goes.
noodles.
Yeah. Game number 3 starts now. Alrighty, game number 3. DNS, they want to break the streak. Nongshim wants to break the streak. Both teams desperate for a series win.
Okay, so Lahens goes heal Spellbook, which is interesting because personally I expected Ignite Aftershock.
Yeah.
I thought they were going into this like, we are winning lane, we are killing this Karma on spawn repeatedly. But this is definitely the more passive Nautilus option. And Nautilus does have value in team fights later on. Spellbook and heal are heal's gonna help you survive lane, even though you're gonna have less kill pressure.
Also gives you a little speed boost, as we saw there.
Yeah, the health kind of wasted there though. They were very healthy already.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel like there's not a ton of great value for a Nautilus this game in team fights. Nautilus is always gonna have some value, but in this game specifically, you ult Docdami spell shields, you ult Closer, he can actually go into the weirding and he can actually break, like the ult stops traveling because of the stealth. Nefiri is a no-brainer. So it's not like those games where you have a Nautilus and you just think, wow, I press R and we win. It's not actually like that. So I think it's going to be a bit trickier for Lahens to have the impact we'd expect. See what he was able to bring out though.
Yeah. Also, if you do actually hit someone with CC and you stun them, you have a decent amount of chain ability with some of the CC within their comp. With the Talia, with the Renekton. Those two together always interact very nicely together, Talia and Renekton. Then you drop a Nautilus in, they can't spell shield everything. The Karma isn't going to necessarily enjoy yourself all too much, so maybe that's still the idea, right? Just kill the Karma over and over, even if I don't have Ignite. Just with the amount of CC they have within the composition.
And we do see Dudu going for that Doran's Helm on the Gnar, that item that's gotten a lot of buffs. Well, one buff, but, got introduced and then got buffed.
Yeah.
Puts in a pretty powerful spot.
We don't have lethal tempo for him.
Yeah, go on the fleet footwork. Not as much power in the all-in. Not as much power. Honestly, in team fights, we've seen sometimes the mini Gnar with lethal tempo go crazy. But a bit more sustain and survivability in lane. That movement speed can help you disengage from the Renekton.
Yeah, Gnar is finding a lot of success in general in the LCK. 34-17, which is basically a 67% win rate. Have a little fight here as they're fighting over the Scuttle Crab, it looks like.
Basically a what percent win rate?
66-7%.
Oh. I thought that's what you said.
Win rate.
It's,
like I said, a lot of success. And especially recently, I think there's been a lot of players who have also found some good streaks on the pick and haven't lost quite that much. So Gnar feels very good nowadays.
Yep. So far, Pioshik managed to secure that Scuttle Crab, which is positive. None of the lanes really falling behind much for DNS, which is great. That's how you want things to be going. The Hen's getting chunked out as he's looking for an engage. Dudu getting chunked out as he's looking to not be engaged on. And that level of HP is definitely a little bit volatile. If Renekton does get cooldowns back in Fury, it maybe just explode the Gnar.
Yeah, Pioshik was up there on the top side as Kingen is, going through parts of his jungle, but They don't really have kill pressure onto Kingen, so not going to go for it. Pyosik just wants to do the very standard jungle thing in the LCK, especially with just go for the full clear here, try to get level 6 on the scuttle with the help of your team. Might lose his Raptors, though, as in comes Scout and Sponge, but Peter is here as well. Sponge trying to get out with the spell shield. He's going to get extremely low as they follow over the wall. I think eventually the damage comes through. That's again first blood for Pyosik. That's 3 games in a row where Pyosik has first blood. It's kind of crazy, incredible. And yeah, it's a nice knockback here from Scout to kind of save Lehens' life, who also had to flash away.
So DNS may have come out ahead in that play, but they burned every single flash to do it. This is kind of crazy. Pyosik doesn't flip over the wall here. He wants to commit to the fight, so he just uses his W, and as a result gets feared and flipped. But then Sponge is already so low, and that's 3 instantaneous flashes to kill this Nocturne. We then see in the follow-up play, Lehens gets baited by the spell shield, thinking it might be down. And then Peter flashes to keep Lehens in tether range, but then changes his mind and backs away and allows him to flash away and break the tether. So not the full commitment there on the play, was conscious of Diablo just killing him. The end result, it's a slight advantage to DNS, but so many summoners... Oh, Lehens.
He doesn't have flash.
Dead.
I think he's, yeah, the Q comes through, and eventually Lehens just goes down. So Duck Tom says, I hope you're happy that you stopped my back, but I'm also going to send you back to the fountain. Dude taking a bit of damage here, but he's not under any threats.
So we're seeing the struggles of the Nautilus, and Lehens, as I said, didn't go Ignite, didn't go Aftershock, didn't go those runes for early power, didn't find an early advantage, and now is just having a rough time. And the problem is you're engaging onto a Sivir, and I guess you just thought Dockdown was in the shop, and Peter wasn't there. Because if Peter's not there, you can just kind of walk this off, but he was there. And then the Karma, who just slows you, then roots you, it's pretty straightforward. So, Dockdown now pretty strong, ahead in the matchup, which feels great. Pyosik obviously got that earlier kill, he's feeling great. He's actually going for the Bruiser build. Bruiser item first and foremost. I guess concerned about getting popped in these team fights. We've seen recently it's been Cyclo Sword into Bruiser, but he's just like, no, I want health immediately. There's a lot of threats. If I get feared or flipped or CC'd by Nocturne, I don't want to just get one shot in their combo. And especially when, if you're not getting one shot, you can survive for such a long time on the Fury. I think that makes sense. Oh no.
We got a Fury up on the top side. They're trying to go all in, as now maybe it's Pyosik who's in a bit of trouble. The stun does come through, but he's able to go up in the air. Now Closer is here, and Kingen's in a lot of trouble. And Scouts to follow, as he doesn't really have anywhere to go. He doesn't have a wall. Has his flash. And Sponge actually does come back here and helps out in the 2v2 and pushes them away.
Oh, that does just miss. But ultimately, successful play for DNS. They counteract the aggression from Nongshim. We saw this Talia Nocturne look so scary in terms of the side lane pressure it can apply, but they're just unable to... Don't get baited again, Lehens. Do not try and hook him under the tower, please. It looked like he wanted to. Yeah, so Nongshim have to commit a lot of resources for this. The Talia ult, the Nocturne ult, and they try and turn it onto the Neferi in their faces, but that means Sponge just kind of has to run out from turret, and he's disconnected. He's a little bit worried about walking through where he knows Closer is, and so he just takes a long route around. Pyosik's not healthy enough here, and Closer doesn't have enough damage left, also misses that Q, so they're not able to punish Scout, but the end result is a favorable play for DNS, and they're still ahead in gold.
Yeah, it's 1 kill by 1 kill by 1 kill, so adding up to 3.
Yes, 1 + 1 + 1 is 3. Thank you, Brendan.
Yeah, you know, I've been working on my math here, especially on cast.
What happens if you add an extra 1?
That would equal 4, I think. Not 100% confident.
We'll get that fact checked by production.
That's, yeah. Also, did you see Degon earlier saying 1, 2, 3? That was some really impressive counting from him as well. So I'm proud of all of us. For
you guys been camming recently? A little bit of after work mount practice.
You know, where like Degon comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, you want to play Rift Mounds after the matches?" I'm like, "He means we're gonna practice our counting, actually."
Yeah, of course.
That's why we're so good at it now. So shout out to Degon for all the classes. So 3 kills for DNS. I mean, they're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
In the early game.
Strong early game, which is a pretty significant difference from game too, but again, I feel like that comp has a lot of legs in the later stages of the game. We haven't seen a look towards Dragon yet. It's that Ocean first again, which I feel like definitely desirable. Increase your chances of a good soul, get that early sustain. But now the team got really the full control to go for it right now, especially because the paranoia is back up. And that has to be respected. Imagine if we had matchups in the top lane that weren't just, let's both rush plated steel caps first. Imagine how much more fun that would be.
I mean, we had it for a little bit. We had some interesting stuff in the top lane, but the second Doran's Helm became meta and tanks were able to survive in lane again, it disappeared. Our fun meta in the top lane is gone. Closer's extending this trade on the Scout, but not going to get a kill.
A lot of damage. Scout does have TP, but maybe they're hoping this pressure's enough to get them a Dragon. Sponge isn't on side of the map, but he's been a recall and has that paranoia, of course. And it looks like they're not going to fully commit yet. Just get some vision around mid. Yoshik's going to clear up his Raptors. And the Hexplay has been completed for Sponge on that Nocturne. So a lot more threat when he does ult in. Even though DNS have that side lead, still feels very close right now. But I think the emphasis is more on Nongshim to make something happen and progress the state of the game a little bit. Oh, there's a Karma sneaking in there.
Yeah, Karma gank. Yosik here too. This is a Renekton with Flash and Dominus available. And he's quite tanky. I just don't think they're able to do much, but
yeah,
that means that Nongshim are just going to go for the Dragon now.
They end up giving up enough pressure. Nongshim lean over towards the Dragon and are able to secure it pretty comfortably. So Pierce Dragon to them, which is a big positive. Do have Essence Fever coming in for Knockdown, so that one-item spike completed. Does just give you the mana to kind of just spam the waves and not have too much concern. And it's Cloud Dragon second, so
yeah.
We'll see what the soul ends up being later.
We had Hextech into Mountain, so maybe Infernal this time. Definitely not that other one.
Don't know what you're talking about. We'll see. Right now, things kind of slow down. There's still a lot of tools for making fights happen available to Nongshim, and you know Lehens is looking for angles where possible. Definitely someone who likes to force engages on the Nautilus. They've changed around the lane assignments right now due to into Scout, which doesn't feel too good for the Mini-Gnar. I imagine they will move him away and play for the Herald. That's up in 2.5 minutes.
We do have a lot of movement, actually, around the top side of the map. We got so many members of Nongshim here.
So this is interesting because they're keeping Dudu here. He does dodge away from that. Oh no, Peter.
Yeah, they're going to catch Peter in transition, and that is the karma that you can always engage on. And they throw a decent amount into him, a couple ults at least. Closer trying to keep them around with some damage here. Diablo just going to flash forward and looks for more as there's the hook coming in from Lehens as he's able to get some value out of that Nautilus.
This was so disconnected from DNS in this situation. King is trying to threaten Knockdown, but Knockdown's just going to play a distance. But yeah, it was so disconnected. I feel like they didn't really expect Peter just to get caught in rotation. They didn't expect Nongshim to be so aggressive. And I feel like the lane assignment wasn't really too positive. We have the Gnar into Tilly, which doesn't feel good. But also, Closer's running up right now. Renekton had TP this whole time and holds it. Peter just face check. He just dies immediately. Closer does turn up eventually. But from full HP, he's the only person hitting here other than one, like the outwards boomerang blade from Knockdown. And then Lehens gets the hook and he just dies. This felt really off for DNS. And Nongshim are now at 1,000 gold lead off the back of that.
Yeah, it's a flip of almost 2K. And I do like Nongshim not letting this quiet down this game. You know, just going in, trying to make some plays. Kingan's got an angle here on a closer, but it is Aurora, so kind of hard to lock that one down. But yeah, you know, using your Nocturne around the map, he has Hexplate, try to get some paranoias in, try to make some plays. Even if it can be a little bit difficult into this composition, I think you have to look for angles to get yourself a lead into this Sivir.
Finally, DNS look to be switching up their lane assignment and putting the Gnar into the Renekton. Peter's in trouble.
He's taking quite a lot of damage, actually, just with Sponge. As I don't know what he mantra'd there, but it wasn't.
I think he mantra shielded.
It wasn't the W.
Yeah, he should have mantra W. Whatever you're getting engaged on.
Maybe because Spell Shield was up and he could just pop it with Q.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what he did. Is pop the Spell Shield with Q.
And then mantra shield.
Yeah, mantra W in those situations, it just gives so much healing. Definitely the play. He's now gone for the Celestial Opposition. A bit of extra tankiness when he gets engaged on. They now have the lane assignments I think they should have been going for a while ago with the 9 to Renekton and the Aurora back into the clear. But both those matchups are pretty down in terms of farm. Presumably because of the lane assignments I had.
Yeah.
So, not ideal. Nongshim going to move towards the Herald. And DNS looking for an angle to contest.
I mean, Pierce can always put his face in there as Neferi and just threaten. But Nongshim have a pretty good spot here. We got double TP coming in, a Rift Herald fight.
This is a Gnar with no Gnar bar, by the way.
Yeah. And no lethal tempo, so he's not even really chunking as they pull it all the way out and they get the smite down. And now Kingen is in that back line, a huge amount of damage on that. The Paranoia comes through. And now they're going to look for the engage straight onto the Karma. Everything thrown at Peter, the poor guy. This is not able to avoid all of that. The Combat Herald as well going to be immediately used as they look to charge into mid lane. Spun's going to take some damage, but this is still a big win over to the side of Nongshim.
And throughout that entire passage of play, Closer didn't get a single chance to ult, so a big aspect of the power of that champion not really getting utilized. Smite will stop the Herald from getting a second charge, but it's still a big winning play for Nongshim. Will they be able to set up for the Dragon, though? And have to reset and be a little late on that. But here, so Nongshim just get the Herald, sorry. Kingen buys a lot of space in this situation. And the ult from Diablo ends up getting quite a lot of value. They go for this engage here. And I think the darkness definitely didn't help for making decisions in this moment. But Peter kind of just walks up again to the Nautilus. Kyoshi goes in with no backup. Closer doesn't really get a way in on the fight. Nongshim feels so much more coordinated and tighter in terms of their formation in comparison.
Yeah, I mean, they were set up very nicely on that objective, and it just felt like DNS were trying to force a fight. Now they're trying to go in on a Kingen here, who is a Renekton, doesn't have the Dominus quite yet. He's taking a ton of damage, but they can't quite kill him as Duckdom comes over, and finally, they get the Renekton.
They get the Renekton, but in return, you can see Dragon is picked up for Nongshim. They're going to get some plates mid, and maybe some plates bot as well.
Yep.
Diablo needs to be a little careful here, but I feel like when you're playing an AD carry with Bloodthirster first, you have a lot more bulkiness than you would expect. Looks like they're not going to get... They will get that one plate from the bot tower. But overall, I think Nongshim are fine with the trade. Like, Renekton goes down, but it's not that much of a big deal, considering the advantages they found elsewhere. It is going to be a Chemtex haul, though. So those two earlier dragons they invested in, you're feeling a little bit underwhelmed by the payoff.
Yeah. It's all right. You know, still going to try to stack that one up as fast as possible. And Nongshim, they've taken a couple of good fights. Well, they took one good fight and then one good map play, essentially, which is just let Kingen die and get value elsewhere. And they've gotten a nice little lead at this point in time. This feels like Closer, you know, Closer had a great game of LeBlanc. I was very excited for what he could potentially pull off. And then he had that game of Annie, and all of a sudden, you know, now moving into Aurora, it's like, I just haven't seen Closer again in this series.
It's been a struggle.
Need him to be doing more in the mid game, especially before the Sivir is online.
Just really falling behind in terms of farm. I think the lane assignments were pretty bad, actually. Constantly putting the Aurora into Renekton and the Gnar into the clear. They are fishing for something here.
I mean, they're going to chase them down. This is not really going to work, though, as now they're going to turn straight onto the Sivir. As a lot of heals and shields do go down onto Duckdom, keeps him alive.
Yeah, it was a weird setup for the play because they were going for the Hens, but he still has all summoners.
Kyoshik, awkward spot here. Not able to avoid the Nautilus. That is not a position and a fear he should be in. And he just dies.
You have a lot of tools as Neferi to avoid getting engaged on like that. and Pioshik did not end up using any of them. 3,500 gold lead now for Nongshim. So really at a sizable advantage. And Hens is just trying to set up all these plays consistently. Feels like at this point, did we just see the best of DNS in game one, and then they've taken the foot off the gas since? I'm hoping not. I'm hoping they find a way back in this game, and there's still potential with their composition. But it just seems like a series of errors, back to back to back, have happened so far this game.
Yeah, individual errors, but also, you know, some of the team fighting hasn't been the best. And maybe just going back to what Goong was talking about, where perhaps game one looked more like some of their scrim success, and then game 2 and 3 is more of what we've seen here at Chichizik Lal Park, which has been just, you know, uncharacteristic kind of mistakes here and there, not really playing as a team. Well, they once again got a nice early lead. They got 3 individual kills. They just weren't really able to make anything out of it.
I think their approach to team fights has been a little bit off, which is interesting because that's something I praised them for in game one.
Yeah.
But especially against a Nocturne.
All right, we're going bot. This is Mini Gnar for now, as the knockup not going to land.
Especially against a Nocturne, you can't afford to be spread out, because when the ult gets popped, obviously one person is going to get focused down, but the darkness makes it so hard to coordinate when you're all split apart from each other. And I feel like especially when you have a Sivir Karma, you get a lot of value from being grouped together. But they just keep ending up in these split situations. Dudu's Mega Gnar times out as he jumps in.
Yeah, he also got stunned by the back part of the rocks, so just jumps in, doesn't do anything, and has to run away.
Boza eats a bunch of bullets there, unnecessarily from the bullet time, so he's chunked. They will clear out the way, but another play goes down, and it definitely feels like Nongshim are making DNS play to their tune right now, just walking them around the map and forcing them to match them. It's 45 seconds till that third dragon, and Nongshim are taking the time now to reset and re-establish control over the area. I just want to see DNS have a strong team fight. Play together, play a bit more tight as a unit. Don't let the Nocturne split you apart. And right now, Dokdam, he is behind in gold compared to the Misfortune, but has the core items of the Essence Reaver and the Navori, so can just pump damage if he gets the window too. Yeah,
Definitely looking for an opportunity. You can tell, like, Dokdam is...
I don't think he's going to build the item.
Oh. Baby hubris, then?
Probably not.
Oh, I thought we were casting Aram Mayhem. Even there, I'm like, no, it's not a good idea. Dokdam, though, he's trying to control mid. At least he's able to push the wave very well as Sivir.
Burns his spell shield, so it makes it difficult for him to walk up for the next little while. Kingen is on a flank with full fury, and that was very early from Pioshik.
Pioshik's like, I can use this Mega Cone. What's going on mid?
What is the Sivir doing?
Yeah, I don't know. He's going the wrong way. And Diablo's like, well, I guess I'm just going to kill him. Looks like he...
Do you remember that thing I said about being tight as a unit and being a bit more together in team fights?
No, I wasn't listening.
Well, neither were DNS. Dokdam just ends up... I don't know. Maybe he saw a lion and a witch. Maybe he went through a wardrobe. He was in Narnia, apparently.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great reference. I don't even know. We need to see the replay. Okay, sometimes we don't highlight when the players have a rough time, but we need to see that one. Absolutely. As we're trying to get in here, as there's the engage, they're going to find the Nefiri, and Pioshik eventually just tries to run away, tries to flash over the wall. Bit of damage into Diablo, who is left all by his lonesome on the backside of this fight. As now Dudu taking a bit of damage, but Mega Gnar's coming up. I mean, maybe an angle for him as he goes into the Baron, and he's going to hop over the Baron, trying to create space for Closer, who picks up the kill. Sivir's here, and all of a sudden, Nongshim, they've been playing with their food, and it will come down to the smite, going the way of Sponge, but what about the team fight? Kingen, the last person with Baron left on the team. And, you know, a flash Q comes through. The root is there, and no hopes of a disengaged cone. It is an ace for DNS.
Nongshim just overplay their hand when it comes to the... Okay, here... yes, this is what happened. Dokdam got flipped, went for the plate, and then
was he over there
went
by
dark,
himself?
and he just ran through the enemy jungle. Well, he didn't see a lion, but he did see some
Sivir,
wolves.
go stand next to Karma.
Yeah, and then the dragon fight. So this is taking a long time. The MF not the most sustained damage. They look for Pioshik, but they have to pull away from the Baron quite significantly to get him. And Diablo just gets jumped by Closer, taken out pretty quickly. Baron is still hitting people at 5k HP, and it just kind of gets a little bit crazy after this. Meganar gets hit, and then we see Yudu bounce away. He survives. Sivir turns up eventually, and I think that's the point Nongshim realized, oh no, this is really bad. We've overplayed our hand. At least they can get the Baron, but not get away. And we also see Dokdam ulting them to give them the speed from over the wall to chase down Kingen. A massive overplay of the hand from Nongshim there. I think we're on the Baron for a bit too long. Wasn't taking enough damage. Couldn't finish.
All right, what are we doing
well
here? Pioshik, he's going to get the red buff and die. And now we got Dokdam in a rough spot. He's going to go down and die. Nongshim get 2 kills just running through the enemy jungle.
It's like a game of catch. Honestly.
What are we doing?
It's just throws on throws on throws.
Is this even Rise Group, baby? It feels a little bit too raw for me. Maybe I'm just not acclimated. You know, I need to get back into the groove.
Well, sometimes you have to die for a big objective. Sometimes if it's Soul or Baron or Elder, you can see situations in which a jungler can die for those. Red buff, not so much. So Pioshik getting caught out on the Fury, which isn't that easy to do, honestly, but a good punish from Nongshim. Dabble's 5-1 on the MF. He's pretty strong. They are up in gold. It's weird because we were kind of in this game state, roughly. I mean, they were a little bit further ahead, but we're in this kind of game state. And then they threw a Baron, and then this throw happened, and now they're back. It's just crazy this sticks around. He saw them as well. He must have expected this was going to happen. And then Dokdam spell shield super early, so the Nordosul actually just knocks him up, and he dies.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Can't spell shield everything, I guess. I mean...
Well, you should spell shield the Nordosul. That's a good one as well.
Yeah, that's one you want to save it.
But who is next to step up and die? Right now, Nongshim have control of the river. I mean, they don't really have control of the river because there's no wards there. They have control, but it's just kind of like they have control of the entire red side jungle. Is there anything they don't have control over? I guess DNS's base.
Yeah.
I just don't see how you're going to walk up in this situation. There's double control wards at those entrances. There's another one if you loop round through bot lane. There's no wards in the river because they don't even need them, because how are you getting to the river? And Pioshik is trying here. It looks like they're going to try go through bot and rotate round.
I like how Nongshim are just saying, okay, we're going to deny all the vision and wait for DNS to make a mistake. We don't want to have some weird kind of objective fight where we throw. We want to set this up and be careful because we're the better team and we can do this. We have control of the map right now. I think that's the way you should be playing this, honestly. I don't think we should have what happened on the Baron happen again. So that's the knockback on a Pioshik, but he is just going to hop over the wall, straighten a sponge, takes a bunch of damage, flashes away. And now we got another fight here on the right side. The wall is going to knock everybody into this one. Closer going to go down, and so will Dokdam, because they were kind of separated from the rest of the squad. We got a TP coming in, as the Dragon also going to go over to the side of Nongshim, who pick up the soul. Scout's got an angle here, gives a taxi for Pioshik to actually get away from Kingen. And now Scout is like, I can't let you actually get away from here, but he still will. As now Dudu's going to get away with the Mega Cone. And I'm losing my mind, but Nongshim still a fight win after all that.
Pentech Soul for Nongshim. Closer and Dokdam both die without using summoners. Dudu will teleport away, but this looks to be it. Even if the game does not end up this push, so much damage has been done. Such a huge gold lead for Nongshim. Double inhibitor towers taken down, Chemtech Soul secured. And DNS feels like the wind is no longer in their sails.
Yeah, I feel like after they lost that early game lead to a couple of silly mistakes, I mean, they got the game back again just because I feel like Nongshim gave them an opportunity on the Baron, but the second Nongshim kind of lock in.
I think we're kind of seeing a lot of the characteristics of these two teams. Nongshim making some big errors, but ultimately are the stronger team, are the more coordinated team. And DNS kind of just losing momentum. As the series goes on, as the mistakes rack up, it feels like they're just unable to maintain any sort of strict focus on how they're supposed to win the game. You want to see them play around the Sivir and play a coordinated team fight where they're enabling two of their stronger champions in the late game in that Sivir Karma. It's just not happening. They always end up split apart. People are getting picked off. The Nocturne is just a superpower against them. You turn off the lights and they start panicking.
It's so true, actually. Maybe Nocturne's the answer in Rice Group. Just turn off the lights and everybody just loses their minds. Sponge is 3 levels over Pioshik at this point.
Yeah. And he has a GA now, so he can just fly in pretty recklessly. Scout here has Rabadon's completed. Closer not yet to finish his. Diablo with 4 items and a crit cloak. Baron's up and available. They're pushing up mid, and Kingan's on a flank.
They're going to get corralled here big time. The spell shield is down, and everything is thrown into them. Scout able to get in, and he does so much damage at this point, even on Taliyah. And that's going to do it. Nongshim find the fight. Nice little angle there from Kingan. And all they got to do is push in this mid wave and take it down for the 2-1 victory.
Absolute decimation in this game. Nongshim able to just explode them in these last few fights. Closer again doesn't get a chance to flash, and it just feels like DNS with a strong game 1 to end their game losing streak, but it kind of felt like the momentum just started to fade after that game 2, and Nongshim will put an end to their 10 series loss streak and push DNS to a 16 series loss streak on the back of that. And this is the final moment. Pioshik's super split for the rest of the team, and Kingan finds his great flank angle. They pop their ultimates. Pioshik is miles away when this starts. He ults on actually Scout to follow him in, but the fight's already over by that point. The bot lane got obliterated.
Yeah. Let's go mid. It's over, he says. Not a lot of celebration in terms of the comms. The game hadn't ended at that point just yet. I mean, technically it was over. Scout doing a lot of damage on the Taliyah, actually. You don't see Taliyah doing huge numbers, but got ahead and was able to do a pretty good job there. Pretty unfortunate that DNS couldn't show kind of more of what we saw in game number 1 in the rest of the series, but it is what it is. They'll have to try in the next series up against D+ Kia from match 90, as Scout is going to be the player of the match this time around.
Yeah, I think the Rise performance was honestly what sold it for me. He dominated that matchup. He was so far ahead of Closer. It just really warped the game. The Annie was like an item and a half, and he had 3 full items with Actualizer. Was